Begin with the invocation. Om Meerarvindaya vidmahe Atimanasaya dhimahi Tanno Jyotihi Prachodayat Vasudevam Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Namaste. Yes, can someone recollect what is it that we saw last? We found the link and we go ahead. Yes, please. Anybody?
I could recollect Om Tat Sat.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, you could recollect Om Tat Sat. That moment began with Om Tat Sat, isn't it, Ji? So the second moment, what we called it, was actually the second part of the writing. Om Tat Sat was the triple mantra. Interestingly, this one also will begin with Om Tat Sat. Okay, so Sujata ji has given the triple mantra. Anything else anybody can recollect?
Maya
Yes, Sugna
and
ji?
Leela. Maya and Leela. You talked about Maya,
Ji.
illusion, confused. And when you
Yes.
are surrender to divine,
Yeah.
then it becomes Leela.
You are an active participant in the joy, in the Ananda, game of Ananda, that is Leela.
Yeah.
But when you are trapped due to Ahankar in
Yes.
Maya, Ananda ceases to be there, what we can call Nirananda is
Niran.
there. Okay. Yes, Ji. Yes, please. Anybody would like to add something more to what Sugna ji just shared?
We had we had also seen about the Gayatri mantras, like the Gayatri mantra which is in Gayatri Chanda and the Gayatri mantra that Sri Aurobindo gave.
Yes, yes. It was connected with the sun, isn't it, Ji?
Yes.
It was regarding sun.
Yes. Yes, Sita ji, you were adding something?
Yeah, we have mainly discussed about the sun. Savita
Ji.
Surya, the sun which we see, and then in comparison to the Prithvi, how big the sun and stars, etc. We have discussed about it.
Yeah. So the symbolism of the sun is a, what we can say, the Surya that we see is an extension of that consciousness which is probably getting its light from a yonder sun. That is what Sri
Yeah,
Aurobindo also
younger
talked about.
sun.
Yes, yes. All right. Yes, Sita ji. And somebody had asked that we look at the topic of surrender.
Oh, yeah. Usha
Isn't it?
gave a very good answer. Usha ji gave a very good answer.
Yes, 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 yes. A beautiful answer. Usha Maji actually summarized it perfectly. And she is, I think everybody does not know, she's herself a teacher of so many thousand students. I do not know, maybe thousands also. But she's a beautiful art teacher who does beautiful art. And she also has a beautiful connect with Krishna. She released a book called Child, where Krishna she has perceived as a child, and she has been after a stroke, she has been fighting for several years. What we can say, pain, but she's in Ananda all the time. We're going to be looking at Ananda, isn't it? Sri Aurobindo also talked about converting pain to Ananda. One of my first connections with Ushaji was when she shared that when she had told she would tell the child to sit on the other leg when one leg would hurt too much. The first time I had heard, I had not understood it. So, but then this is it, and everything is Leela according to what she has been talking about. So she's able to smile, and that is something which we can all learn also. And this surrender is something which comes to us naturally. Surrender is something which comes from the heart. It is not something which is calculated. Surrender comes because there is trust. Surrender is there where you're not expecting anything in return, and yet you get much, much more than you can receive. And surrender is to be done to the divine only. The first surrender and the complete surrender must be offered to the divine because that is the way to receive wisdom. In the Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna begins his sermon because Arjuna surrenders. Though Arjuna does not immediately understand completely what is true surrender, it takes a while. But as and when Arjuna's surrender starts becoming more and more complete, he starts receiving deeper wisdom. Some what we can say occult secrets also are revealed. He learns about Raja Vidya. Then he receives the darshana. He receives the Vibhuti darshana. Then he receives what is the Vishwarupa darshana, the Chaturbhuja darshana, and then he learns
Divya.
and yes, yes, he learns everything. He learns about the way of bhakti. He learns about what is the cosmic forces at play, the duty, what is swadharma, and the very important thing happens after surrender. Krishna gives an order, isn't it? You must do what I say only. Or he doesn't give any such order throughout the Gita. Just Krishna, I have taught you 18 adhyas. Now you cannot escape. You must do, otherwise I will not spare you. Does Krishna say like that in the 18th adhyay? I think Aditi is saying no. Okay, so what does he say
No.
then? Anybody? Yes, please.
Yeah. He says, I have given you this knowledge. Now do as you understand and as you please.
Yeah, this is the beauty of surrender. So this surrender is a freedom. It is not surrendering to the enemy. He says, Yathechasi tatha kuru. As you wish. I have told you everything. Now, Arjuna, you want to run away? Run away. And then he replies, Arjuna says, Nashtor moha smrutir labdhva tvat prasadan mayachyuta stitosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. Meaning he says, now I will do the work as per your direction. I independently choose to follow your path. So surrender is that freedom which many people think. Because I remember one very senior person asking another senior person who was the shishya of a particular guru. He says, now what if we become shishya? What is going to happen? We'll have to follow everything the guru says, as if this person was so scared he's going to get brainwashed and all such fears were there because the real meaning of surrender was not understood. But really, surrendering is letting go. And I think that is something which is very much essential in everything. No expectations of results, no expectations of returns, but full concentration, devotion, dedication, all of this start coming in. That is why we have the greatest of the greats who have always surrendered have risen. Krishna also says, Dadami buddhi yogam tam. It's okay. I'll grant you the wisdom, I'll grant you the knowledge. Now, who can receive knowledge? Who has plenty of knowledge or who has who does not have? Who does not have. So we must become humble enough, at least not in front of others. We may feel I want to say I'm very smart. All right. But at least in front of the divine, in front of the guru, in front of your whoever is teaching, in there, that place, we must immediately become surrendered. There, the knowledge will come. So I think Ushaji gave a very good practical example, which was very much useful. And I think it, as Sujata ji also shared, it pretty much covered up that topic. So I think we can move on, isn't it? Yes. Anybody has any queries? I think we can move on. So we go into the
Even,
next part.
yeah, even some comment after that directly, like surrender is
Yeah.
positive and the other one is negative.
Yeah.
Was
Yes. Yes. Yes.
very easy
Yes.
to understand.
Yes, Ji, yes, absolutely. So now let us enter into what is the third part. Yes, anybody has any queries? 1 second. Yeah. So now this third part, this is again, once again, this division has not been made by Sri Aurobindo. It is just that Sri Aurobindo wrote his commentary on the Upanishads, especially the Isha Upanishad. So he had identified four movements. So as a poet, little poetic freedom I have utilized to divide this what Sri Aurobindo has written into four movements. But otherwise, it is just one in continuation. It's just for the sake of understanding. Otherwise, it need not be considered a separate part. So now we saw that first there was the principle of Brahmic consciousness. What is this Supreme Brahman? To understand that Brahman better, we got an example of the sun, the truth of the sun. You become conscious just looking at the sun. You can understand, look at the flow of energy, how it happens. Look at the reflection of the sun also when the water is, water is so calm. That reflection of that sun looks beautiful and single. But it's the same water when it is disturbed at one sun splits into so many. It is just like how this consciousness of the divine is there, and this divine consciousness spreads everywhere. So Krishna talks, Sri Aurobindo talks about how this game of it is the Leela of the Yogeshwara, the one who has brought about this union. Union of what? Of matter and spirit, of man and divine. Arjuna also, what was he being taught by Krishna? He has to go on to the path, he has to fight the battle, and yet he must not be disconnected from the divine in the middle of all activities. That reconciliation of spiritual life and material life, that line with what is spiritual, what is material, we need not create a divide of all of this. Integral yoga or Purna yoga of Sri Aurobindo is all about this. It is oneness. And Krishna also indicated the same thing to Arjuna. So let us continue. So this Brahman is there, but then there is a game. There's a game of what? There's a game of Prakriti. What is Prakriti? Anybody? Can someone tell me something about Prakriti?
Nature, all that is not man-made.
All that is not man-made. Okay, Siddhaji is saying all that is not man-made is Prakriti. Okay, interesting.
Shakti.
Prakriti,
Prakriti is Shakti.
Prakriti is
Chitraji is
Shakti.
saying?
Prakriti is Shakti.
Okay, Shakti. Okay, yes. The counterpart of
Action.
Shiva, Shakti, or counterpart of the Purusha. But coming back to Sitaji's statement that Prakriti is all that is not man-made. But isn't man also part of Prakriti?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Is man also? Yes, isn't it? Man is also part of Prakriti, meaning living, non-living, everything, all these things which are existing in consciousness. Sri Aurobindo called Prakriti as the executive spirit, executive spirit of the Supreme, the creative spirit of manifestation is Prakriti. But in Prakriti, in manifestation only, there is this both game of Ananda and the game of Maya. So if we look at it, it is something, means it is at play in this world. This is some kind of force, a force which is not directly visible. Everybody's. People say Purusha Prakriti means it's not just male and female. All living beings, male, female. Now we have so many. For some time there were so many extra genders. Now it looks like they might come down a little bit, but all of them, all still belong to Prakriti. Prakriti is the counterpart of the Supreme Purusha. So with this, it is important to recognize that this Prakriti and Purusha game is very much part of the divine's plan only. It is something, it is what we call the Krida, no, of the divine. Krishna's game of what the Yogeshwara is doing. And it best is to look at it in the light of the Gita before we enter into it. Just let us look at this game of Prakriti. But is Prakriti perfect? That is my question. Everything in Prakriti is perfect?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Some are saying no. Tarunji is saying yes. Is it so?
Yes, Prakriti is perfect. As long as Prakriti is perfect, all things are perfect. Srishti is created when there is Prakriti in Prakriti. That's what.
So Vikruti, is it? You said there's Vikruti in.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Or
there is
means,
Prakriti, there is Vikriti, there is Sanskriti. Something in its original form is Prakriti. Something in distorted form is Vikriti. Something when gets refined is Sanskriti.
Sanskriti. Oh, what a beautiful three words.
That's why it is
Prakriti, Vikruti, and
Sanskriti.
Sanskriti.
Yes.
May I
Samyak
add
Kruti,
something
the
more?
Sanskriti. Yes, Ji wants to say something. Okay, yes, Ji.
I remember a line, I don't know where I heard, but I think it might be related to Sri Aurobindo. Prakriti is perfectly imperfect. I have heard this line. Maybe you said it something like that.
Okay.
So
I
perfect.
do not know
Prakriti
if,
is perfectly
but there are
imperfect.
imperfections in Prakriti, which is called Vikara. That is there in the
Obviously. So
Gita
like it's
also.
perfectly imperfect. The like
I
imperfections
do not know.
also in
Okay, that
Prakriti
is,
is
I do
sort
not
of
know if
in
it is
the
Shreyarvinda's quote, but I think I get your POV. Absolutely. Yes, Ji. Yes, Ji. So now, if you just see, let us get into the Gita, what the Gita talks about. First, there is this 15th chapter which talks about one beautiful inverted Ashwatha tree. Since we are talking about the what is this consciousness which is present, so why not just look at what the Gita tells? Because in the last moment, Krishna was referred to by Sri Aurobindo himself. He said everything is the game of Yogeshwara. So let us look at what are the rules of the game which the Yogeshwara has kept. So just let us look at the 15th adhyaya of the Gita for a moment. So the first shloka of the Gita says, ऊर्ध्वमूल मधशाखम अश्वत्थम प्राहुर अव्ययम छंदासि यस्य पर्णानि यस्तं वेद स वेदवित्. From its roots above, seated in eternity, and branching below, is the ethereal Ashwatha tree. The many hymns of the Vedas are but its leaves. He who knows this essence, the essence of, he who knows this, the essence of the Vedas, he perceives. So an ethereal tree, it is not just an ordinary tree picked up from some garden, it is a cosmic tree. And how is this tree? It is seated in eternity. And its roots, normally roots are below, but here it's having branches below. And there are so many leaves on this tree. These leaves are corresponding to the various suktas, the various hymns of the Vedas. And somebody who understands this cosmic truth, that person is going to understand the essence of the Vedas. Meaning this is a direct way of realization one can receive. Like Sri Aurobindo received a secret of the Veda inside of a prison in Alipur. The science of philology, suddenly somebody who had not yet got it, he got it directly from Krishna, and beautifully he could identify the root words. Even today, what he wrote almost 100 years ago, it is still perplexing the greatest of great scholars, because they have, it is not so easy to study the Veda. You have to understand the Nirukta, you have to understand so many rules of grammar, all of this, and after studying all of this also, there's no guarantee you are going to understand it. So how did somebody receive an indirect wisdom, or how did it come? No, even now, some people try to dismiss, but still, if you look at the understanding, it's really beautiful. And here in the Gita, Krishna is also talking about something, that somebody who has understood this cosmic form, this cosmic existence of consciousness which is flowing, that person can receive the wisdom. And in Bharat, we have had this, so many saints, so many realized ones go across the length and breadth of the country. Go to any village, you will have some realized soul, some at some point of time, who had either taken a samadhi there, who had taught so many things. And the Shishyas are all surprised. This person did not learn. He did not learn the Shastras, but what he is speaking is reflecting in the Shastras, or whatever he is speaking is very much similar. Why? Why is that? It is because he was connected with that same consciousness. The Rishis also received that consciousness. Each of these Vedic seers, they connected with the consciousness. When Bharadwaj Rishi says, I see Varuna's car flying in the sky, what does that mean? That caravan of, he's watching the movement of Varuna in a higher occult plane. There is this samvad between Indra and Agastya. Again, how is this dialogue taking place? It is a dialogue at an occult plane, in a higher plane. So by realizing, the wisdom can be got by understanding. That is why when Sant Tukaram said, he was not angry or arrogant when he said Vedanta to artha hamasi chatawa. I can only claim to know the meaning. That was because there were those misinterpreting and he had understood it, so he was able to share it. The adhikar he received was by realization. The same adhikara Sri Aurobindo also received. It was the adhikara of anubhuti. So that is something we should try to focus on, Krishna also talks about that we must experience that. So here, somebody who understands, that person he receives, he's able to perceive this. Let us go on. अधश्चोर्ध्वं प्रसृतस्तस्य शाखा गुणप्रवृद्धा विषयप्रवालाः अधश्च मूलान्यनुसन्ततानि कर्मानुबन्धीनि मनुष्यलोके. Above and below, the cosmic tree's branches extend. In the material and supra-physical planes, they portend, raised by nature's qualities and their derivative senses, roots of bonded actions. Into the mortal world, it dispenses. So this is interesting. These branches are extending everywhere, even up also, even down also. And this tree is the link between what is the mortal and what is mortal. What is what we understand in this world and what is that supra-physical world. It is that link, this interesting tree. How is it grown? Who is watering it? Who is raising it? Well, the gunas, Prakriti's gunas, they are, means it's like somehow we are living with the gunas, isn't it? We are gathering experience, and somehow this experience is becoming nourishment for this tree. And what is this tree doing? This tree is also sending certain roots which are binding the beings in the mortal plane. Bandhanas. That is something interesting. न रूपमस्येह ततोपलभ्यते नान्तो न चादिर्न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थमेनं सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन छित्त्वा. The inverted Ashwatha's form on earth is inconceivable. Neither beginning, nor end, nor foundation is perceivable. With the sharpest saber of detachment alone can one sever and escape from its roots that entangle the being forever. So Krishna in the Gita tells that, see, this is not something which can be conceived by your logical mind, by your rational mind. This is an interesting tree, which is, if you try to understand, you will not know where is its beginning and where is its end. It has no foundation which is logically perceivable. It is something beyond. But its roots are trapping a person. And how are they? They entangle the being forever. This is sometimes don't we feel sometimes ki, oh no, what have I got myself into? Not able to come out of this. So many little things we don't realize. Sometimes saying a simple hi becomes the biggest problem. You're busy, you're going to go somewhere and then you see your friend and you say hi. That's it. That friend comes and starts talking and you're like, yeah, right, good, I need to go. No, no, you don't go. Listen to me now. Listen to me. And then the conversation goes on and you're like, hey Bhagwan, what did I do? Abel mujhe mar. I have got trapped in this bandhana. Well, there is only one escape from it. It is asanga shastrena dridena chitva. These roots are going to trap you. Krishna is saying, use this weapon of asanga. Elsewhere in the Gita, we see mukta sanga. They all mean the same. English, it means a very harsh word called detachment. But this meaning of detachment is actually a freedom. It is not something which is a resignation. Like we talked about surrender, isn't it? It's like when you take Sharanagati of a guru, it's different, isn't it? But when you look at it in English, I surrendered. It's something like that. Detachment allows us, but there's a lot more in it. This asanga, meaning you're not trapped, you're learning to take one step back. If you can do that, then you will not be trapped in that bandhana. That's what Krishna is talking about. Then he goes on further. He says, Tataha, we will look at totally 6 shlokas of the 15th adhyaya of the Gita and then enter into Sri Aurobindo's Vedanta, what philosophy has told, because this will serve as a base for us to probably get deeper into what the Master has said. Tataha padam tat parimargitavyam yasmin gata na nivartanti bhuyaha तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यतः प्रवृत्तिः प्रसृता पुराणी. He says, yearn for that one destination, that is the goal supreme, from where you return not once more to the mortal realm. Seek refuge in the ancient, timeless, eternal, the beginning of every action, the source original. So, Krishna is talking about a destination which is actually the source, a source of something which is eternal, what we call Sanatan, that which has no beginning, that which has no end, which was there, which is, which will remain. Seek refuge. From there you will not return once more to the mortal dream. What is this meaning of this not coming back to the mortal dream? Are we going to suddenly start levitating and disappear from this world? Yes, Swetaji, yes, please.
It's like you have attained moksha or something. You won't be born again, not returning to mortal life.
No, it's like not getting trapped into those bandhanas. In real freedom in life, Gita also talks about a terrestrial salvation. Means you have to first focus on that supreme divine, focus on that divine, focus on that consciousness, which will allow you to not get trapped. Because now we are going to see what is the trap. Last part we saw how the trap was the source of all the moha, all the maya, all the suffering. What happens in maya? There is suffering, isn't it? But when you are able to detach, then you can understand this is the Leela of the divine. All right, okay, somebody is coming and speaking all bad about you all the time, and you're able to take a step back. Right, that is that person's opinion. It need not be a truth. You're able to quickly, but if you're again entangled into it, you start countering that person's statement. You are yourself, the heated argument begins, then it goes on and it goes elsewhere completely. So there you're disconnected from Ananda, you're experiencing the opposite of Ananda. So here, that is why we have to again connect to that source. That is why Sri Aurobindo talked about that sun, the sun of illumination, the sun of truth, the sun that is so supreme. And here in the Gita too, Krishna is asking us, go to that source. If you just look at the sixth shloka directly, we go there. न तद् भासयते सूर्यो न शशांको न पावकः यद् गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम paramam mama. This is making it more clear. What is this? Why we should reach that consciousness? Why should we experience it? Well, for it is there, where at that state of consciousness, it is there the timeless resplendent one comes to their sight, whose radiance is beyond fire, the moon, or the sun's light. They return not after having journeyed the distance, for they reach the zenith of the status of my existence. Meaning, unless you reach that state of consciousness, you will not be able to see that supreme truth. You will not be able to realize that. And once you realize it, means it's so brilliant that it is beyond the sun, it's beyond the moon, it's beyond what we understand as brilliant. Sun is the most brilliant light, isn't it? According to humans, for us, for our perception, there cannot be a more brilliant light than the sun. But yet there is one light which is yonder, which is more brilliant than the sun. And that a perception, a glimpse, even a trickle of that consciousness is enough for us to make us blissful, isn't it? Just a small trickle of it. Means there was this Tukaram's statement, Hechi dana dega deva, tuza visarana bhava. I do not want to forget you. Give me that much blessing that I remember you. Because when I remember you, that time I will reach that. I remember you, I will not get disturbed. When I remember you, I will not feel helpless. When I remember you, I'll again remember my strength also. Vismruti will suddenly become Smruti because you are now going to receive something higher. It is said, Airavata Ratna Thora. If you look at the Aira, we become big and huge. Then what is going to happen? You are going to have your own, like Airavat, you are standing. What is going to happen? Even the Airavat has the problem, isn't it? The Mahout sits on him and has to direct him. But instead become quiet, become humble, connect with that divine. And here Krishna says this is the place. They journey not, they return not after having journeyed the distance, for they reach the zenith of the status of my existence. What does that mean? It is something like how a duck We have all heard of the story of the ugly duckling, isn't it? In our traditional stories, it was much more beautiful. It was about the duck realizing that the duck is not just a duck, but is the Rajahamsa. What is the home of the Rajahamsa? He says, no, I'm not going, this is not the pond I belong to. I am that Rajahamsa and Manasarovar is my home. It's like that. Imagine somebody, you are in a cage and somebody is feeding. A bird in the cage is being fed by morsels, little morsels of the different types of food. And suddenly the bird sees outside, sees that, oh, there are others like me. They are flying in the sky and they are going towards their own freedom. Immediately the bird realizes this is not where I am. I need to go there. I will earn my own food. I will experience. Let me eat the lotus seeds afresh. I don't need to grow on pity of someone. That is the realization. Means when the realization comes, it need not be the highest spiritual realization. Also, it can become a very practical, simple realization. But when that realization comes, the mistake does not happen again, isn't it? A friend of mine in college, he entered 5 relationships, 4 years. One, two, three, four, five. After the fifth one, he realized because every time he kept saying, see, that person is wrong, that person is wrong, that person is wrong. And fifth time, he realized, okay,
Oh,
maybe there's something wrong in me. And that was his sakshatkar. That was the realization which helped him move on. Otherwise, he's trapped. What they say, punarapi janma, punarapi marana. Same cycle. Initial has started, again something it has ended. Again sorrow. Again little happiness, but not the highest happiness. Again, just the same cycle. So this is important, and this is very much what Sri Aurobindo talks about in this. What is the game? The game of Ananda and Nirananda, like a game of light and shadow. So let us enter into what Sri Aurobindo has said. Somebody wants to add something? You are welcome. Is it? No. All right, let's continue. Om Tat Sat Yaccha Satchideva Tadaccha Chitsanandaha Yatto Niranandam Iti Bhasate Dukkhamiti Durbala Mityajnanamiti Tadanandasya Vikara Anandasya Krida यो हि जीवः स आनन्दमयः प्रच्छन्नो भगवान् स्वप्रकाशमयं जगद्ब्रह्म भोक्तुम् अवतीर्णः य एष दुःखभोगः स भोग एवानन्दमयस्तस्यानन्दमेवानन्दमयो भुङ्क्तेः को हि निरानन्दं भोक्तुमुत्सेहे यः सर्वानन्दमयः स एवोत्सहेत निरानन्दं मयस्तु निरानन्दं भुञ्जानो न भुञ्जीतानन्दं विना प्रणश्येत्. So here, Sri Aurobindo again begins with Om Tat Sat. He starts with Om Tat Sat and then he is describing this. What is this Sat? What is this truth? So just look at this. Om Tat Sat. Om, this truth. Whatever is truth, that is consciousness. And this consciousness is the zenith of blissfulness. What is termed suffering, misery, and weakness is but ignorance, a vacuum devoid of true happiness. All that is sorrow is not, but true bliss is deviation, and in the play of divine bliss, an aberration. When the Brahman into his illumined world extended, his life form of bliss, Jiva, into the creation descended. In every soul to participate in the joy and sorrow that persists. Yet, experiencing and enjoying all as bliss, he exists. Who is he, oh so eager to experience suffering? Only he who possesses the bliss of everything. Means we just look at it once more. Om Tat Sat, whatever is truth, that is consciousness. And this consciousness is the zenith of blissfulness. What is termed suffering, misery, and weakness is but ignorance, a vacuum devoid of true happiness. All that is sorrowful is not but true bliss's deviation, and in the play of divine bliss, an aberration. When the Brahman into his illumined world extended, his life form of bliss, Jiva, into the creation descended, in every soul to participate in the joy and sorrow that persists, yet experiencing and enjoying all as bliss he exists. Who is he who is so eager to experience suffering? Only he who possesses the bliss of everything. To him without bliss, the experience of sorrow can't hold attraction, for devoid of happiness, such a being only attains destruction. This is one interesting tarka here by Sri Aurobindo. If you see, he says first is what is this truth? This truth is only that consciousness, it is that chit, it is that chetana of that divine. That is the truth. And what is that? That is only Ananda. We talked about Sat, there is a Chit, and there is Ananda. This is the Trinity which is found in the Rig Veda also. Satchidananda. Who am I? Satchidanandoham. Shivoham, Shivoham, Satchidanandoham. I am that bliss. I am that consciousness. I am that truth. I am the Trinity of truth, bliss, and consciousness. Here, Sri Aurobindo talks about that there's only one consciousness, there's only that one truth, and that is the Ananda. It is the highest bliss which is possible. In English, there's a word felicity. We can try to use that to connect to it. It is that supreme, unadulterated bliss. It is in that consciousness. But then we are the mortals, isn't it? Do we experience all time Ananda? No. We experience suffering. It is there. Suffering is very much part of our world. And what is this suffering? This is that vikara. This is the vikruti in prakriti. And I think, as Tarunji said, we'll have to now make it right, and that would be the Sanskriti. We'll have to establish a good Sanskriti to remove that vikruti. So, here, if you see here, what is termed suffering, misery, and weakness is but ignorance, a vacuum devoid of true happiness. Let us just look at this. This is somewhere means that consciousness has got distorted and become suffering. Means there was some other plan and that a distortion took place in this Prithvi, in this Bhuloka. In the Gita also we see something very similar. It is but ignorance, a vacuum devoid of true happiness. All that is sorrow is not but true bliss's deviation. And in the play of divine bliss and apparition. Have you heard of this principle in physics called refraction? Anybody, can you tell me what is that?
When you put a pen in water,
Okay.
it appears like it's broken. That is
But the
refraction.
pen is not broken, isn't it?
Yes,
It
but
is
it
the light
appears.
which is, but it's because of the light slight deviation which has happened, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there is in this Srishti also something like that has happened. And light was meant to be only Ananda. If that plan was right, we would all only have Ananda. Absolutely nothing to worry, no trouble at all, no suffering at all. But there is a slight deviation, and there is a play. This is a krida of the divine for some reason. I don't think everybody likes games, and sometimes some games we don't understand the rules only. We feel this game is only hopeless. Well, but it is a game nevertheless, even if we don't like the rules. So in this game, what has happened? An aberration has taken place. And how did it take place? When did it take place? That here is what Sri Aurobindo is talking about. What is it? In the next part, we see when the Brahman into this illumined world extended, meaning the entry of the Brahman. In the Gita, Akshara Brahma is talked about. The Akshara Brahma is entering into the Shara Vishwa. Eko ham bahusyami, I am one. भाई अच्छा अच्छे रहो, एक हो, बट नो, एक हो हम, बहुत से हामी, let me be many. When the consciousness splits, various levels of consciousness manifest, so much movement starts taking place, something like that. When the Brahman into his element world extended, his life form of bliss, Jiva, into the creation descended. Meaning, in this, the Jiva entered into this, what we can say, ex creation, which was Nirjiva before. Then the Jiva entered. In every soul to participate in the joy and sorrow that persists. Yet, experiencing and enjoying all as bliss, he exists. So, the Jiva has entered to take all the experiences, what we are all experiencing. But it is still, the Brahman is experiencing only Ananda, meaning we are only getting troubled and suffering and having all those. But at that level of consciousness, what is happening? Like in Vishnu Loka, everything is calm and peaceful. In our Loka, so much kolahal is there, isn't it? I think can remember how, if you just think about it, exam time. We all get worried. Even when we were in school, at least you go back to memory. We were all worried, isn't it? That same time, there is somebody who is Tita Pragnya in that room. It's our grandparents. They don't have exam. It doesn't make a difference. They are in that state of consciousness where all my exams are over because I passed. You are a product of my passing the exams. You would not exist only. So everything is sweet. You get full marks, grandfather is very happy. You get no marks, that also doesn't make too much difference. I remember my grandmother, she would give me a glass of a little bit curd before the exam and she would say, "You pass well." That really sounded like an Ashirwad. And once I got very good marks, 92%, I was so happy. She said, "Ah, you passed, very good." Because for her, that was all that was important. It is something like that. In that highest consciousness of the Brahman, there, everything is only bliss. There's nothing, no aberration at all. But in our Bhuloka, there is this change, this transformation has happened. So there is this experience of individual consciousness. We feel we are separate. We feel we are going through these cycles of pain, which is very unique. Means I only am having trouble, nobody else. This everybody feels. But still, it is a part of the game only. It is going on. I think Shervindo says, yet experiencing and enjoying all as bliss, he exists. Who is he? Oh, so eager to experience suffering. Only he who possesses the bliss of everything. Meaning, who can choose to experience suffering? We don't want. We're already having enough. I don't want more. But somebody who's ever blissful, he'll say, "Oh, okay, let me try. What is it? Let me experience it." The choice is there, no? Means who can choose it? Only somebody who has experienced Ananda. That person can make a choice. Others are not having a choice only. So here at that point, he has taken some decision to go and actually experience this. What is this suffering? Then the next part is to him without bliss, the experience of sorrow can't hold attraction. Somebody who has not experienced happiness will not say, "Ah, come on, let me get more sorrow. I'm just sad today. I want to become more sad." No, that does not happen at all. That choice question does not come here. But for somebody who is already devoid of happiness, if that person enters into more sorrow, what's going to happen? The person will be destroyed, isn't it? So this is one interesting part. Let us just go further because this is setting up a base for an interesting tarka which Sri Aurobindo is establishing. From there, he is going to bring us to our life also. From the Brahman. That is one very interesting aspect of this Upanishad is that Sri Aurobindo is used just quickly he uses examples of practical, again takes us back to what is this consciousness of the Brahman, again back to everyday life. There's a very beautiful up and down moment happening here. Let us go on further. So without that, the pranashet means somebody who is already destroyed, I mean already sad, goes further into sorrow and ultimately gets destroyed. Yeah, let us continue. This part is a little difficult to give the rhythm. We'll just try. Ko durbalo bhavitum shaknuyadyah sarva shaktiman sa eva shaknuyad दुर्बलो ह्याक्रान्तो दुर्बलत्वेन न तिष्ठेत् शक्तिं विना प्रणश्येत् को ज्ञानं प्रवेष्टुं समर्थो यः सर्वज्ञानमयः स एव समर्थोऽज्ञस्तु तस्मिन् स्तिमिरे न ह्रियो सत्त्वसदेव भवेत् ज्ञानं विना प्रणश्ये ज्ञानस्य क्रीडा ज्ञानम् स्वस्मिन्नात्मगोपनं शक्तेः क्रीडा दौर्बल्यं निरानन्दमानन्दस्य क्रीडात्मगोपनं स्वात्मनि सानन्दं हसति जीवः सानन्दं क्रन्दयत् शृणि मुञ्चति तमोमय आनन्दे भासमान इव यातनाभिश्चेष्टमानः सानन्दं स्फुरति सानन्दं स्फुरति चेष्टमानः प्रचण्डाभिः भीरतिभिः पूर्णभोगार्थं तस्यानन्दस्य तामसस्याशस्य तामसो भूत्वानन्दं गोपयति. So let's continue what Sri Aurobindo talked about. He said, to him without bliss, the experience of sorrow can't hold attraction. For devoid of happiness, such a being only attains destruction. Who is it who can dare choose to become weak? Such a desire only the all-powerful can afford to seek. For if the weak into further weakness diminish, devoid of strength, such beings will only perish. Who can boldly foray into a state of ignorance? Only he who exists in the state of omniscience. Ignorance is only ignorance and cannot blight darkness further. Without knowledge, it is destroyed altogether. Ignorance is but light, ignorance is but the light of knowledge is play, and knowledge conceals itself in ignorance this way. Weakness is when strength is concealed in a similar ploy. Likewise, sorrow manifests when bliss veils itself in its own joy. The jiva laughs and experiences its joys of birth. Shedding tears, it cries and suffers too in mirth. A dark shadow of bliss, it blares and palpitates. And in different tortures and torments, it blissfully participates. It is only to revel in Ananda's dark shade. It is only to revel into Ananda's dark shade, into oblivion. The jiva does verily wade. So once more, we'll just look at this and then we'll look at its meaning. So this movement of the jiva in this experience of life, why has this jiva entered? What is the purpose of entering into this world of suffering? If everything was just beautiful and brilliant in consciousness, everything was perfect. Why? Well, let us see. So here we stopped at the person who is without bliss will not try to experience more sorrow, because if you do not have any happiness, further you try to go, you'll only suffer, get destroyed. So who is it then? Who is it who can dare choose to become weak? Such a desire, only the all-powerful can afford to seek. For if the weak into further weakness diminish, devoid of strength, such a being will only perish. This is an interesting tarka. Who can choose to become weak? Only the person who is powerful, isn't it? Say a greatest wrestler comes and stands and I say, all right, I am choosing to not lose to you. It's not going to work. I'm not a good wrestler at all. I don't know anything. But here, who can make that choice? Somebody who is like a boxer can enter into the boxing ring and then say, yes, I can choose to fight with only my right arm. Now I'll not use the left arm. I'm going to come, try beat me. Who is now here has become weak, isn't it? When one arm is tied behind or he's keeping his hand behind. But who can make that choice? Only that person who is powerful, not the person who is weak. If the person who is weak chooses to become further weak, what's going to happen? That person will perish. This is a choice which has been made not by any ordinary person. It's a choice made by the divine to enter into this Vishwa. Consciously, the all blissful, supreme divine has chosen to enter into a world which is not having just Ananda. There's also what we call Nirananda. That is both are there. Then let's just continue. Only he who can boldly foray into a state of ignorance. Only he who exists in the state of omniscience. Again, who can choose to ignore? Only somebody who knows, isn't it? If you don't know something, I'm ignorant. You never knew it. Where's the question of ignoring coming? Same thing is about ignorance. Somebody who knows, he can choose to become ignorant. He can choose to hide. Sometimes teachers, oh, what is it? I don't know. What is it? This is a teacher's choice, isn't it? Because the teacher wants to see if the other person knows it or not. So that is a conscious choice of somebody who is knowing. So the all omniscient divine one has chosen, is what Sri Aurobindo says. He is choosing purposely to enter into this world of ignorance, boldly foraying into this, enter into the state of ignorance. Because he is already in a state of omniscience. He knows all. And what is ignorance? Ultimately, it is just ignorance. It cannot make darkness further. It cannot blight darkness because that is the other end. That is what Sri Aurobindo says. And what happens without knowledge? Ignorance is ultimately destroyed. It is simple as that. We say ignorance is bliss. But do we really mean bliss? Is ignorance really bliss? Doctor saying, oops, I operated on wrong kidney. How many of us will be blissful when we hear this news? There we do not want ignorance. We don't want anywhere actually. We can't say our security guard was, oh, I was sleeping yesterday, so I don't know whether anybody robbed or not. Nowhere. It's a pseudo bliss. Ignorance is not bliss, and ignorance ultimately gets destroyed. Destroyed by what? By the light of truth, by the light of knowledge. It cannot go on forever. That is why it is said, no, Satyam eva jayate, because that light of truth will manifest, which will destroy. Tamasoma jyotirgamaya. Tamas is the darkness, tamas is also ignorance. And the light of truth will destroy it ultimately. So it cannot make darkness more dark. Darkness is dark only. It is the absence of the light. Same is the case with ignorance. Ignorance is but the light of knowledge's play, and knowledge conceals itself in ignorance this way. This is very beautiful. There is a symbolic aspect also. In the Rig Veda also this concealment of the light has been described. The light of what? The light of truth. The light of truth is hidden. And there are so many symbolic mentions. Sri Aurobindo has beautifully described it. Go means cow, go also means light. Those who stole the cows, what have they stolen from the rishis? They have tried to steal that light. Dasyus, Vrutras, Valas, all these forces are at play in this world continuously, trying to prevent, trying to what we can say, hide or steal that light. But what is happening in that stealing? You can't steal light. You can only conceal it. And conceal it with what? Well, in darkness, that light is concealed. This is a very interesting aspect of like what is Ananda and Nirananda, what is Tama and what is Jyoti. That is being touched on by Sri Aurobindo here.
I have a question.
Yeah, yes, please, Johiji.
Uh, it might sound silly because it's from a human
Yes.
mind, human perspective
No,
that I'm
I
seeing.
am also a human mind, so I will try to
Okay,
understand
like
it. Yes, please. Ji.
let's continue. So if someone tries to steal the knowledge,
Yeah.
then obviously knowledge cannot be stolen. Then it will be sort of a spreading thing, that like the person went to stole the knowledge and become knowledgeful himself. तो
Yeah.
गलती से खुद का फायदा कर लिया. Can I
So
say
isn't
that?
that the game? Isn't that the game? Somebody is allowing their knowledge to be stolen if they allow it to be stolen because they want to spread it.
Oh, nice. Understood now. Thanks.
Ji. All right, Ji. Yes, let us continue. So ignorance. Ignorance is but the light of knowledge's play, and knowledge conceals itself in ignorance this way. Weakness is when strength is concealed in a similar ploy. Likewise, sorrow manifests when bliss veils itself in its own joy. So, all of this, light and darkness, knowledge and ignorance, strength and weakness. Who can say I am feeling weak? Somebody who is strong, no? Somebody who is never strong will not say, oh, I was weak, I am weak, I'll remain weak. What's the difference there? But somebody, oh, that why I'm not having that strength. Where is that strength? That is why the Upanishads also talk about Kruto Smara Kritam Smara. You have the ability to remember the strength of previous times also. The old strengths will return to you. Even our Anjaneya had to be told, isn't it? You have the strength to take that leap, a leap which is a leap of consciousness, a leap which is going to cross all the physical boundaries. So that strength is within you. Somebody had to tell. Without that, why? Because that was concealed. Yeah, somebody wants to add something. Yes,
Came
please.
into my mind, just something.
Huh?
Something came into my mind. Some thoughts came into my mind while saying this weakness and strength and all.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
want
please go on,
to.
Jim.
So just thing is that once some people have suffered going through some issues, some
Hmm.
problems, or they are suffering a lot mentally. Then after that is getting solved, almost getting solved, another problem she faces. Then again some health issues. Then again there's some they have some my personally also I can say I had some eye
Okay.
issues. When eye issue was almost solved, I had some knee issues. Then again some again after it was almost took 2 years to solve. Again another issue came. Then what is this? I was getting upset, and somebody told me, an aunt told me, see, you are the boldest and lots of strength here. That's why God has chosen you to chosen you to bear so much suffering. So yeah, see, if I was in your place, I would have dead and gone. So you're
Okay.
the
So,
by God.
Ji,
So
Ji.
that's why you can
Yes.
bear. That's why you have
Yeah.
chosen for it.
Yeah.
Same.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So this is a beautiful insight. This is the insight that is instead of so many questions, why me? Why
Yes.
only me? Why did this happen to me? I had a friend. I have a friend. I'm sorry, I said I had. I have a friend who got diagnosed with cancer, acute myeloid leukemia, and there was very less scope. My mother, being a pathologist, she saw the reports and she said 17 out of 18 did not make it in that particular time. And well, my friend was the 18th one who made it. That was a brilliant aspect. And recently, she also became a mom after she got married. That was so many years back, 7, 8 years. And you will not believe, she said, I'm thankful to God for my cancer. That was a shock to me to hear it because I had seen her entire, the chemotherapy, hair fall off. She was so slim and suddenly she put on a lot of weight. Somebody who was scared of a single needle. The pain of a needle was too much for her. She received so many punctures, or she was not able to eat. They had to feed through the tube. So much what we can say. It is horrible. Nobody can see any light in that. And it was not just a small portion of time. It was a long entire year and more than that, I saw from close because I knew her parents as well. I saw what was all happening. And yet, this same person told me this that I am thankful. How can sir, somebody see a light in this darkness is the big question, but it is a matter of perspective. And look at this perspective that allowed her. She went through so many beautiful, her life can become a movie the way it has happened. Her marriage also was something after so many hurdles. So it was like a movie only, everything. And yet it goes on, isn't it? So this is the krida. This is the game, you can say. This is the game of the divine, and in that the perspective is required, a higher perspective which is not reactionary, which is able to see beyond what is there. Because sometimes strength also, she did not know. The one who was afraid of a single needle did not know she had the strength to take everything and take on the world and go ahead. And even in that time, she found a strength while she was in the world. She kept doing something. If this was the last, so she wanted to do something creative. She made quills. With quills, she made rings for the year. She sold it, and some that with that whatever came from selling, she brought books and other things for the balloons for the other children in the cancer ward. Look at all of this. This is what we can say hidden joys of life, which have to be manifested, which have to be experienced. And this is the game. And Sri Aurobindo is talking about that only. You see, weakness is when strength is concealed in a similar ploy. Likewise, sorrow manifests when bliss veils itself in its own joy, when happiness itself hides itself with its own brilliance. Then that is where sorrow starts. And sometimes everything is there in happy moments also. We sometimes invite sorrow because we're hiding our own happiness with our own wrong approaches. So that is it. But what about Jiva? The Jiva, which is the Jivatman, which is the supreme one, which is the divine one, which does not go through all of it. In the Gita, Krishna has talked about the Atman. Nainam chindati shastrani, nainam dahati pavaka. Weapon cannot cut, no fire can burn, no wind can dry, no water can wet. That is the supreme spirit. But how is that Jiva participating in this? All these moments of life. Well, the Jiva laughs and experiences its joys of birth. So the Jiva is experiencing everything as Ananda only. Jiva is not getting disturbed. Shedding tears, it cries and suffers too in mirth, meaning it participates. It's like a participant. But that also is participating happily. One moment. Yeah. Yes, so it is participating. The Jiva is participating in the happy moments. The Jiva is participating in the sad moments also, but is poised and experiencing only one experience or experience of Ananda. This is what Arjuna did not understand in the Gita in the very start. He said, Krishna, what is this? What is all of this? Even Swami Vivekananda had this big question, isn't it? It was almost the Nastik's question. Agar tum ho to ye kyun hai? If you are, then why is all of this? And then he got that realization. Arjuna also was told later by Krishna. Krishna has told him, Arjuna, you are seeing only this birth. You do not know anything what was before. You don't know what's going to come after. I have got that vision. I know why you are at this moment doing this today. There's a big continuum of things which took place before, and there are things you are falling down today. But this fall is because you are going to rise tomorrow again. And that rise I am able to see. You have not yet got that perspective. So, this is the Jiva. A dark shadow of bliss, it blares and palpitates, and in different tortures and torments, it blissfully participates. It is participating. It is understanding that all this is going to make this person stronger. Let it go. Maybe this person is complaining, screaming, shouting at God on that you are useless, you're not capable. All that is fine. My Ananda, God is not going to get disturbed, isn't it? I called God by this name, so he should get angry. No, he is not human, he's divine. Nothing is of that sort is going to happen. So, in all of this, it is only to revel in Ananda's dark shade. So, to experience this, the dark shade of Ananda, it is some kind of wish of the jiva into oblivion. The jiva does verily wade to experience that ananda. It's like some of us like white chocolate, some of us like dark chocolate, something like that. Everything is for the jiva. It is to experience this dark shade of ananda. It is experiencing all of this, these moments of weakness also. It is very, what we can say, um, just directly participating in it. And that is something which is very interesting. We will look at this before we enter to the last part because this is something which needs to be looked at a bit. Why the action, the reaction, all of this which takes place, the cause, the effect, how can it all be Ananda? That is a question which I think many of us do have, isn't it? How can it be Ananda? What is this Ananda? But we'll look at it and then we'll look at the final part of the Upanishad, which is there is something which is the Adesh of Sri Aurobindo himself. In the last part of the Upanishad, he gives the Adesh. What is that Adesh? Generally, the Adesh of the saints, they are all very powerful words. If you look at the Natha Sampradaya, they just go on Alak, Niranjan, and Adesh. That Adesh is a word of the God only that has to be taken with that respect and that value, and that alone takes a person ahead. So, what is that Adesh that Sri Aurobindo has given through this beautiful aphorism, which was later titled Sri Aurobindo Upanishad? That will be the last part of the Upanishad. So, with this, what we saw today was that maybe on the surface, what is looking as Ananda, what is looking as Nirananda, all of these are but plays of the divine. The divine is not getting disturbed, but the human beings are unfortunately getting overtly disturbed at all moments and all times. So we'll have to figure out how do we move from Nirananda to Ananda, but we have examples. We have examples plenty. I think Usha ji also had beautifully told and shared her own experience as well. So with this, I think we will conclude. If anybody can summarize, or if you have anything to ask also before the summary, if you wish to ask or share something, you are welcome. Or we'll go to the summary. Yes, anybody? If you wish to ask or share something. All right, then can we just summarize what we saw today? Sujata ji, please unmute.
We heard about Prakriti and about the tree all entangled.
Yeah. Yes.
And finally, the sun of illumination, where we have to try and connect.
Ji,
And
ji.
that it's not all happiness, no Ananda. There is always, like Bebu Bella heading to Ugadi, sorrow
Sorry?
and happiness. It's something like, Bebu Bella, but it's kadwa and sweet
Right,
for
right.
Ugadi.
Bittersweet experiences are there,
Yes.
but we have to take the rasa of life, isn't it?
You're there for that to give us.
No, Krishna is there. Yes, ji. So yes, so this is there. This definitely aspect of means because this is very important for us to gather this perspective, because if we do not get this perspective, we will continue to be overwhelmed. Overwhelmed. We will feel weak, means we'll feel too weak. I know so many people would say, I can't afford to be sick because their job depends on it, their livelihood depends on it, and you will not believe they find the strength. I mean, how can somebody not afford to be sick? No, I cannot. I've seen somebody tell this to me in my face, and I'm so surprised how this strength can come. The person is not just young, very senior, and yet working and leading from the front. How is it possible? Well, that is a strength. That is the discovery of strength, isn't it? Behind the suffering. It does not mean it's like how we can say a yogi. Krishna also tells in the Gita, a yogi is not somebody who does not experience pain. A yogi is one who does not suffer. There is a great difference between experiencing pain and there is something called suffering. Somebody just has this little bit pain and that pain becomes amplified and magnified so much. And then there is somebody else who is having extreme pain and yet is not suffering. Means my Guruji had shared me his experience when he had watched his own Guru, Nana Maharaj Taranikar of Indore. Somebody had come to him and he prayed and he fell to the feet of the Guru and said, please, I'm having so much pain. This pain is there, that has to go and all of that. And he blessed him and said, it will become all right. And as he went, he just lifted his leg, lifted the his dhoti, no, little bit. And Damiji saw that the Guru's feet only are so swollen. But he is not, he is smiling and giving the Ashirvada. Means the healers many times who are healing are not those who are not having any pain. It is just that they have learned to bear that pain and they are learning to convert that pain into Ananda. That is the beautiful aspect. Sri Aurobindo also talked about it, converting pain into Ananda. Ramana Maharshi, he got operated without anesthesia. Can you believe it? The doctor was afraid. The doctor was not sure. How can this cannot be borne? Human pain's threshold, it is too much. You will not be. He said, no, go operate on me. Even that operation he did not want. Actually, it was his shishyas who, because of their nature, they wanted, no, 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 you must get it done. You must get it done. And it happened. And during that time, the same one more shishya came with the same trouble. Here, she has told the treatment what can be done, and that person became all right. Well, whatever it is, this aspect of converting what is pain into Ananda is possible. We are weak only if we choose to be weak. We are choosing. If we just remember, we are not. It is so simple. In life, I have what to do. I did not get any chance in life. This is what people usually say. But if you go a little bit deeper, you will see the chance is always there. The freedom is always there. It is under the outer circumstance way of ignorance that this freedom is denied. By whom? By ourselves. Even Anjaneya had to be told, isn't it? You can take a leap. He was denying himself. He was denying himself. He had all the Sakala Siddhis. Yet he was not able to, only when he got that realization. So sometimes maybe we are lucky. Sometimes we get somebody who tells us we are strong. But what if we don't have somebody who is telling us we are strong? Well, we should pat our own back those time and remind ourselves, yes, the strength is there. Because this is the game of divine, Ananda and Nirananda. It is something, because this Krishna Sri Aurobindo is describing this here because this is creating a ground for the next and the most important part of his Upanishad. Because it is a message, and that is the message which has to be taken forward in our life also, and that is the message which has to be, it is for the world which has to be taken. That is it. But before that, we need to understand this game. So with this, let us, I think we can conclude with the Shanti Mantra. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kasyid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Hari Om Tatsat. Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Namaskaram. So, wish you a wonderful day. We'll see you on Friday then. Yes, please. Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ji. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hari Om Ji.
Hari Om. Namaste.